Let me tell you something that might hurt a little, but healing usually does. Let's talk about the first one, the most subtle, the most polite, and the most dangerous of all, the dream killer. This person doesn't scream at you. They don't insult you. They don't tell you that you're stupid. They smile, they nod, they act supportive, and then they slowly suffocate your future. You tell them your dream, the thing that makes your heart race, the thing you think about at 2 a.m., the thing that scares you because it actually matters, and they tilt their head and say, "That's nice, but have you thought about a backup plan?" And something inside you shrinks. They say, "I just don't want you to get hurt." They say, "I'm just being realistic." They say, "I care about you." But what they're really saying is, "I'm afraid, and your courage is making me uncomfortable." See, dream killers don't hate you. They hate the mirror your ambition holds up to their own unrealized life. Your dream reminds them of the risks they never took, the chances they let slip away, the version of themselves they abandoned to stay safe. So instead of facing that pain, they try to make your dream smaller, manageable, reasonable, dead. And the terrifying part, they sound logical. They talk about bills, they talk about stability, they talk about how the world really works. They wrap fear in responsibility, they dress insecurity up as wisdom. And if you listen long enough, you start doubting the very thing that once lit you on fire. You start editing your dreams when you speak them out loud. You stop sharing your excitement. You lower your expectations. You aim for okay instead of extraordinary. Not because you stopped believing, but because you got tired of defending yourself. Let me tell you something brutal and beautiful. No one who has ever changed their life had a committee's approval. Every great leap in human history looked irresponsible to someone who was too afraid to jump. If you had listened to every cautious voice in your life, you would still be exactly where you started, just older and more bitter. Dream killers don't steal your dream in one moment. They steal it one comment at a time. One raised eyebrow, one sarcastic joke, one "are you sure," one "be realistic," until one day, you wake up and realize the dream is gone. And the worst part, you won't even remember the exact day it died. Listen to me now, because this might save you years of regret. Anyone who consistently makes you feel foolish for wanting more is not protecting you. They are projecting their fear onto your future. And fear is contagious. You were not given a vision by accident. You were not wired with this hunger for more by mistake. You were not born to live a life that feels like a slow apology. If your dream scares you, good. It means it's big enough to grow you into someone new. But if your dream starts to feel embarrassing around certain people, those people are not your people. Real supporters don't always understand your dream, but they respect the fire in your chest. They don't say, "That's impossible." They say, "How can I help?" They don't shrink your vision. They strengthen your spine. So here's the hard truth. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for your future is disappoint the people who are committed to your past. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to prove anything. Just stop inviting them into conversations about your dreams. Protect your vision like it's a newborn, because it is. And if someone can't celebrate your ambition without trying to cage it, walk away. Not because they're evil, not because they're bad people, but because your life is not a place for other people's fear to live rent-free. You owe your dream at least one honest attempt. And anyone who tries to talk you out of becoming who you're meant to be does not get a front row seat to your future. Now let's talk about the second one, the one nobody wants to admit exists in their life, the energy vampire. This person doesn't attack your dreams directly. They don't tell you to quit, they just slowly drain the life out of you until quitting feels like relief. You know exactly who this is? Every conversation turns into a complaint. Every situation turns into a crisis. Every solution turns into another problem. They don't come to you for growth. They come to you to dump emotional weight and walk away lighter. Leaving you heavier, you start the day feeling hopeful, motivated, clear. Then you spend an hour with them, and suddenly everything feels pointless. Your shoulders slump, your thoughts get darker, your energy disappears, and you tell yourself, "I'm just tired today." No, you're not tired, you're being fed on. Here's the dangerous part. Energy vampires are usually nice people. They've been hurt. They've been unlucky. They've had a hard life. So you excuse their behavior. You say, "They've been through a lot." You say, "They need me." You say, "I can't abandon them." But listen to me very carefully. There is a difference between supporting someone and sacrificing yourself to them. They never change because they don't want change. They want an audience. They want sympathy, not solutions. They want validation, not transformation. They want company and misery, so every time you bring them hope, they swat it away. You say, "Oh, it'll work out." You say, "You don't understand how bad it is." You say, "You could try this." They say, "That won't work for me." You say, "You're stronger than you think." They say, "You don't know my life." And after a while, you stop offering light. You start joining them in the dark. That's when they win, because misery loves company and it hates growth. Here's a truth nobody teaches you. Your nervous system can't tell the difference between your problems and someone else's. So when you constantly absorb other people's chaos, your body thinks your life is falling apart, your stress hormones go up, your focus goes down, your creativity dies, and then you wonder why you can't move forward. It's because you're carrying other people's emotional luggage on a journey that was only meant for your own. You are not a therapist. You are not a savior. You are not a life raft. You are a human being with limited energy, limited time, and a future that requires both. Compassion without boundaries is self-destruction. Read that again. Every time you stay in a draining conversation out of guilt, you teach them that your energy is free. Every time you cancel your goals to rescue their mood, you teach them that their pain matters more than your purpose. And here's the brutal part, they will survive without you, but your dreams might not. Some people don't want to be healed, they want to be held while they bleed. And if you keep offering your arms instead of your absence, they'll keep bleeding on your life. You are allowed to say, "I can't carry this anymore." You are allowed to say, "I love you, but I need space." You are allowed to choose peace over proximity. That doesn't make you heartless. That makes you conscious. Because the world doesn't need another exhausted good person who gave everything away and never became who they were meant to be. The world needs you whole. So if someone consistently leaves you drained, foggy, anxious, and heavy, that's not love. That's ingulder theft with a human smile. Walk away, not with anger, not with speeches, with silence, with boundaries, with self-respect, because your energy is your life force. And anyone who feeds on it without trying to grow does not deserve unlimited access to your future. Now let's talk about the third one, the one that feels the safest, the warmest, and the most heartbreaking to walk away from. This person doesn't hurt you, they hold you. They don't insult your dreams. They distract you from them. They love you the way you used to be. They love the version of you that didn't challenge the room, didn't outgrow the circle, didn't make them question their own life. They say things like, "Why are you working so much lately? Why are you so serious now? You've changed. I miss the old you." And it sounds like love, but what they really mean is, "Your growth is making me uncomfortable." See, these people don't want you to fail. They just don't want you to evolve, because your evolution forces them to confront their stagnation. When you start waking up earlier, working harder, thinking bigger, dreaming louder, you become a walking reminder of what they're not doing. So instead of rising with you, they try to pull you back down to where they feel safe. Not with cruelty, with nostalgia, with jokes, with comfort. They invite you out when you plan to work. They tease you for being too ambitious. They say, "Come on, one night won't hurt." And one night becomes a week becomes a month becomes your life. They don't sabotage you dramatically. They sedate you. They keep you just comfortable enough to never leave, and just uncomfortable enough to never feel fulfilled. And you start confusing peace with stagnation. You start calling boredom stability. You start telling yourself, "At least I'm not stressed," but deep down, something in you is dying quietly. Your hunger, your edge, your fire. And the worst part, they're not evil. They're familiar. They're home. They know your stories, your wounds, your jokes, your past. So when you pull away, you feel like the villain. You feel ungrateful. You feel disloyal. You feel cruel for wanting more. But listen to me very carefully. Anyone who needs you to stay small so they can stay comfortable is not your friend. They don't hate your success. They hate the distance it creates between who you are becoming and who they have chosen to remain. They say, "Just be happy with what you have." But what they really mean is, "Don't outgrow me." They say, "You're doing too much." But what they really mean is, "You're doing more than me, and it hurts." Growth changes your schedule, your priorities, your language, your standards, and not everyone can come with you. That's the part nobody prepares you for. Sometimes the people who clap the loudest for your old life go silent when you build a new one. Sometimes loyalty to your future looks like betrayal to your past, and that pain, it's real. But here's the truth that will set you free. You are not abandoning them. You are answering a calling they cannot hear. You are not better than them. You are just becoming more of yourself. And if they truly loved you, they would want your soul to feel alive, not just available. Real love doesn't ask you to shrink, it asks you to shine. Real support doesn't guilt you for growing, it celebrates your becoming. So if someone keeps pulling you back into the life you're trying to outgrow, if they make you feel guilty for discipline, awkward for ambition, selfish for choosing your future, that's not love. That's fear wearing a familiar face. You don't have to cut them off with drama. You don't have to announce your departure. Just start choosing your next level over their comfort. Start choosing your purpose over their approval. Because one day, years from now, you will either thank yourself for being brave enough to outgrow the room, or you will resent everyone you stayed small for. And the most painful regret in the world is realizing you sacrificed your destiny to protect other people's insecurities. You were not born to stay the same. You were born to become. And anyone who tries to keep you frozen in a version of yourself you've already outgrown does not get to decide the size of your life. Let's talk about the truth you've been avoiding. Not because you're weak, not because you're stupid, but because facing it would change everything. Deep down, you already know something is wrong with the people around you. You feel it when you leave certain conversations heavier than you arrived. You feel it when you stop sharing your ideas because you don't want to be talked out of them. You feel it when you start doubting yourself for no clear reason. That's not random. That's your intuition begging you to pay attention. Here's the reality most people run from. Staying around the wrong people is a form of self-betrayal. Every time you silence your truth to keep the peace, you teach your nervous system that your feelings don't matter. Every time you lower your standards to avoid conflict, you teach your soul that comfort is more important than growth. Every time you stay loyal to people who don't respect your becoming, you abandon the future version of yourself. And that version of you is watching, quietly, patiently, wondering how long you're going to keep choosing familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. See, the damage isn't loud. It's slow, it's subtle. It happens in tiny moments no one else sees. It happens when you laugh at jokes that belittle your ambition. When you agree with opinions that shrink your vision. When you pretend you're okay with a life you secretly feel called to outgrow. You don't wake up one day ruined. You wake up one day and realize you haven't felt truly alive in years. And that realization hurts more than any breakup ever could. Here's the part that stings: the longer you stay in the wrong environment, the more you start confusing who you are with who your environment needs you to be. You start performing a version of yourself that fits the room. You tone down your intensity. You water down your ideas, you numb your hunger. Not because you changed, but because you adapted. Human beings are survival machines. We become what we must become to stay accepted. And sometimes acceptance is more addictive than truth. But listen to me now. If you don't consciously choose your environment will choose your future. And it will not choose big for you, it will choose safe. It will choose familiar. It will choose average. Not because average is evil, but because average is comfortable. And comfort is a seductive liar. Comfort tells you you've got time. You're fine where you are, you're overthinking this. And then one day you're 10 years older having the same conversations with the same people about the same problems. That's when regret shows up, not screaming, whispering, asking you why you kept ignoring the voice that told you something wasn't right. Here's the reality: nobody wants to own you. Already outgrew some people. You just haven't had the courage to admit it. You keep calling it loyalty. You keep calling it kindness. You keep calling it patience. But your body knows the truth. That tightness in your chest, that exhaustion after certain hangouts, that quiet resentment you don't want to confess, that's your soul saying, this isn't my place anymore. And here's the hardest pill to swallow: no one is coming to save you from the wrong people in your life. There will be no dramatic sign, no perfect moment, no clean goodbye scene with closure and music playing. There will only be a quiet decision, a moment where you finally choose yourself without asking permission. Walking away doesn't mean they were bad people. It means they were bad for the next version of you. And that's enough. You don't need proof. You don't need validation. You don't need their understanding. You need your life back. Because every year you stay stuck in the wrong circle is a year you steal from your destiny. And the future you is counting on the present you to be brave enough to disappoint people who were never meant to go where you're going. This is the reality check you've been avoiding. Your life will not change until your relationships do. And the moment you accept that is the moment your real life finally begins. Let's talk about loyalty. That word you've been using like a badge of honor and a set of handcuffs at the same time. You tell yourself, I can't leave them. We've been through too much together. They were there for me when nobody else was. And all of that might be true. But here's the truth: nobody wants to face loyalty to the wrong people can cost you your entire future. Not all loyalty is noble. Some loyalty is just fear dressed up as virtue: fear of being alone, fear of being judged, fear of being the bad one who outgrew the group. So you stay. You stay even when you feel yourself shrinking. You stay even when your goals don't fit the room anymore. You stay even when your spirit feels bored, restless, and quietly miserable. And you call it love. But love that requires you to betray yourself is not love. It's a slow form of self-erasure. Here's the part that hurts: some of the people you are loyal to would never be loyal to the future you're trying to build. They're loyal to the version of you that needs them. The version of you that drinks with them, complains with them, stays stuck with them. The moment you start rising, your loyalty becomes inconvenient to them. Suddenly you're acting different. Suddenly you're too busy. Suddenly you think you're better than everyone. Not because you changed your heart, but because you changed your direction, and your direction threatens their comfort. So they guilt you. They say, don't forget where you came from. They say, you wouldn't be here without us. They say, so success means you're too good for your friends now, and because you're a good person, that guilt works. You start sabotaging your own growth just to prove you're still loyal. You skip opportunities. You downplay your wins. You stay accessible when you should be building. You cut your wings so nobody feels small around you. Let me tell you something hard and freeing: your future doesn't care about your past friendships. Your destiny does not reward misplaced loyalty. Your potential does not get activated by staying in rooms that no longer challenge you. Some relationships are meant to be chapters, not the whole book. And holding on to people who only belong in your past will delay your arrival into your future. Here's the brutal math of it: every hour you spend maintaining relationships that don't support your growth is an hour stolen from building the life you actually want. Every emotional ounce you pour into people who mock your ambition or drain your energy is energy your dreams never receive. You don't have unlimited time, you don't have unlimited youth, you don't have unlimited chances, and you are spending your most valuable currency, your life, trying not to hurt people who are perfectly okay with you hurting yourself. That's not loyalty, that's self-neglect. And here's the part nobody talks about: the people who truly love you will adjust to your growth. They might miss the old days, they might struggle with the change, but they won't try to chain you to a smaller life. They won't punish you for evolving. They won't require you to fail so they can feel included. So if someone only feels close to you when you're struggling, that's not friendship, that's dependence. And it will ruin you. You are not disloyal for choosing a life that fits your soul. You are not betraying anyone by answering your calling. You are not required to stay the same to make other people comfortable. Sometimes the most loyal thing you can do is be loyal to the future version of yourself who is begging you not to waste this one life. Because one day, years from now, you're going to look back and realize something painful: you didn't lose people on your way up. You lost years on your way sideways, trying to carry people who refuse to walk with you. And that regret will hurt more than any guilt you feel today for walking away. So let them misunderstand you. Let them call you selfish. Let them say you changed. You did. You finally chose yourself. And that choice is the only loyalty that will never betray you. Let's talk about the moment you finally choose yourself. Not the Instagram version. Not the motivational quote version. The real one. The quiet, lonely, terrifying moment when you realize that staying is hurting you more than leaving ever could. This is the part nobody applauds, because walking away without guilt feels like betrayal when you've been trained to put everyone else first. You've been the reliable one. The understanding one. The one who gives second chances, third chances, 10th chances. You've swallowed your needs. You've softened your boundaries, you've stayed silent to keep the peace, and now you're exhausted, not tired in your body, tired in your soul. Here's the truth you need to hear: choosing yourself is not an act of cruelty, it's an act of self-respect. But when you've built your identity around being the good one, self-respect feels selfish, you feel guilty for needing space, guilty for saying no, guilty for outgrowing people who are still comfortable where they are. You start explaining yourself too much, over-justifying your decisions, hoping they'll understand so you don't have to feel like the villain. But listen to me very carefully: people who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always call your boundaries selfish. Not because they're right, because your growth is inconvenient to them. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions about your evolution. You are not required to stay accessible to people who keep you small. You are not obligated to keep bleeding just because someone else refuses to heal. Here's the part that will set you free: you don't owe anyone the old version of you. That version was built to survive, not to thrive. That version tolerated disrespect, stagnation, and emotional crumbs because it didn't know any better. But you know better now. And knowing better means you do better, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Walking away without guilt doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means you finally start loving yourself enough to stop negotiating your worth. It means you stop auditioning for rooms you were never meant to stay in. It means you accept that not everyone gets to go with you into your next chapter. And that grief, it's real. You will miss them. You will romanticize the good moments. You will question yourself at 2 a.m. You will wonder if you overreacted, if you were too harsh, if you should go back and make it work again. That's not a sign you made the wrong choice. That's withdrawal from a familiar pain. Your nervous system is addicted to what it knows, even when what it knows is hurting you. So when you choose peace over chaos, your body panics. It says, go back. At least it was familiar. Don't listen. Growth feels like loss before it feels like freedom. Choosing yourself means accepting that some people will never understand your decision, and that's okay. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to become who you were meant to be. Sometimes self-love looks like disappointing people who were never going to be happy with your evolution anyway. Sometimes healing looks like walking away from people you still care about because caring about them is destroying you. And here's the deepest truth of all: you cannot build a life you love while dragging people who hate the direction you're going. You cannot become your highest self while staying loyal to relationships that were formed in your lowest season. You cannot answer a bigger calling while clinging to smaller identities. So when the guilt shows up, and it will, don't run from it. Let it pass through you. Remind yourself, I am not abandoning anyone. I am abandoning a version of my life that was killing my spirit. You are allowed to outgrow rooms. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to choose a harder, lonelier, truer path. Because one day, on the other side of this painful courage, you are going to wake up lighter, clearer, stronger. And you will realize something that makes every tear worth it: walking away from the wrong people was the most loving thing you ever did for your life. And for the first time, you won't feel guilty, you'll feel free. If you got even 1% motivation from this video, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel Unstoppable Growth so that I can be encouraged.